The truth? If they want to destroy you, they'll do it through your feelings. Not with fists, not with weapons, but by making you feel. Machiavelli knew this centuries ago. Power doesn't belong to the most honest. It doesn't belong to the loudest. It belongs to the most controlled. The man who can master his emotional display owns the room, owns the game, and owns his enemies. So if you're tired of being predictable, tired of getting walked over, tired of losing in silence while the world keeps spinning, you better listen. Because what I'm about to give you is a psychological war manual. Let's get something straight. You're not here to express yourself. You're here to win. That might sound cold to some of you, but life is cold. Society's not built for the emotionally weak. It's built for predators. Men who understand that emotions are tools, not chains. Every time you let your emotions spill out like a leaking faucet, someone sharper, calmer, and more calculated is watching. They're reading you. They're testing you. And they're planning how to use what you just gave them for leverage, for control, or for destruction. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince to coddle your feelings. He wrote it to show how power is maintained through perception, manipulation, and ruthless clarity. And one of his most overlooked lessons? Never let the world see your full emotional hand. You can feel, sure, but showing those feelings, unfiltered, uncontrolled, raw, that's where most men fall. They bleed in front of wolves and wonder why they're eaten. So here's the breakdown. 5 emotions you should never show in public. Not to your friends, not to your boss, not even to your woman. These are the signals that broadcast weakness, and once they're out, there's no taking them back. This is psychological warfare, and you win it by not reacting. Let's get into it. Emotion 1. Desperation. Desperation is the scent of the dying, and in the game of power, it's blood in the water. Sharks circle when they sense it. You ever see a man beg? It's pathetic. He clutches, pleads, lowers himself. The more he chases, the more the world runs. That's the law. People don't respect the desperate. They exploit them. They raise the price when you can't walk away. In Machiavelli's world, the prince who begs is the prince who loses his throne. You must never appear like you need anything or anyone. Not validation, not approval, not company. Need is a vulnerability. Wanting something too much exposes you. The man who's starving will eat poison. The man who's desperate will make irrational deals. Women? They feel this instinctively. You show neediness, they pull back. That job you want? You show desperation in the interview, they sense it. And suddenly, your worth drops. Here's the brutal truth. You attract more when you look like you can walk away from everything. That's not arrogance. That's power. You must be willing to walk out of any room, any deal, any relationship if it compromises your frame. Desperation isn't just unattractive, it's suicidal for power. Control the urge to chase. Sit back. Let silence speak for you. Machiavelli would tell you, when you show you don't need it, people assume you deserve it. Emotion 2. Anger. Raw and uncontrolled. Let's be clear, righteous fury has its place. But raw, uncontrolled anger? That's amateur hour. That's the meltdown of a man who's lost command of himself. And Machiavelli was crystal clear. Never let them know they've gotten under your skin. If they can provoke you, they can steer you. If they can anger you, they can control you. You think blowing up makes you look powerful. It doesn't. It makes you look weak. It shows you're reactive, that you can be baited. And that's dangerous because now you've given the enemy the remote control to your emotions. When you lose your temper, you're broadcasting insecurity. It tells everyone, I'm not in control. I'm overwhelmed. And once that mask drops, you can't put it back on. You don't want to be the guy who punches walls. You want to be the guy who smiles while everyone else panics. That's how you own a room. That's how you win a confrontation. Be cold. Be calculating. Be silent when others scream. And when you move, move like a guillotine. Precise. Decisive. Final. Remember what Machiavelli wrote. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But a man who explodes with rage is feared once and then discarded. A man who controls his wrath is feared forever. Hold your fire until it matters. Let people think you're calm, then strike like a machine. That's how kings operate. Emotion 3. Envy. Envy is the emotion of the weak. It's the inner cry of the man who watches others win and feels smaller because of it. It is corrosive. It eats away at your discipline, your focus, your ability to elevate. And worst of all, it's obvious. You might think you're hiding it, but people can feel envy like heat off a flame. It makes you twitchy, passive, aggressive. You start making excuses for why someone else is ahead. You downplay their success. You mock what you can't replicate. Machiavelli understood envy as poison. If you're the prince and your advisors envy your power, they'll betray you the first chance they get. If you're the soldier who envies his commander, you'll never become one. Envy keeps you beneath the man you hate. Here's the truth. When you show envy, you admit inferiority. Period. That's how it lands. You're saying, he's ahead of me, and I don't know how to get there. That's a losing posture. That's the posture of the defeated. Instead of envying, observe, study the man who has what you want. Break down how he got there. What habits, what moves, what mindset. Then quietly outwork him. But never let envy touch your face. It will turn allies into enemies. It will make the successful hide from you, and it will ruin your chances of ever joining their ranks. Celebrate others publicly. Dominate privately. That's the strategy. Never be the bitter man in the corner. Be the silent climber. In power games, the envious man never wins. He's too distracted watching others. The player focused on his own board is the one who finishes the game. Emotion 4. Self-pity. This is a plague, maybe the worst one, because self-pity is addictive. It feels warm, it gives you an excuse, and people might even pretend to care when you show it. But deep down, no one respects it. Machiavelli would have spat on it. A man who rules doesn't mope. He doesn't wallow. He recalculates. He regroups. He moves. When you display self-pity, you're saying the world is bigger than you, that you're powerless, that you've given up, and trust me, the world hears that, and it believes you. You start posting about how unfair life is. You complain to your friends about how nothing works. You walk into a room already defeated. People see it, and instantly you drop in value. No one wants to follow a man who sees himself as a victim. Not in business, not in war, not in relationships. Especially not in relationships. Women can smell self-pity like rot, and they will walk fast, because nothing is more repulsive than a man who needs to be rescued. Here's the harsh lesson. Life doesn't owe you a damn thing. You either build the outcome, or you stay where you are. There is no middle. Feel the pain, but never display it. Let your suffering forge you, not break you. Let setbacks make you savage, not soft. The man who pities himself builds a prison. The man who refuses to bow builds an empire. Choose. Emotion 5. Fear. Fear is natural, but showing fear, that is fatal, especially for a man, especially in a world that tests you every single day. Fear exposes hesitation. It shows doubt. It signals that you don't trust yourself. And once that signal is out, people know exactly how to handle you. In Machiavelli's view, fear was a tool to be used, not displayed. A ruler who showed fear invited rebellion. A man who hesitated was seen as weak. And weakness, in any power structure, becomes a target. Here's what fear does when you show it. It tells your opponent that you're not prepared. It tells your competition that they've got the edge. It tells everyone watching that pressure cracks you. Your face gives it away. Your tone. Your body language. If you're not composed, you're broadcasting insecurity without even opening your mouth. Think about the battlefield. The soldier who flinches first dies first. Life works the same way. If you hesitate to take the shot, someone else takes it and buries you with it. The moment you feel fear, you need to cage it. Not suppress it like a coward. Control it like a tactician. You stare it down. You use it. Let it sharpen your senses, not break your resolve. You want to know who owns the room? It's the man who walks in like he's already won. Not arrogant, certain, solid. The kind of presence that tells people, I've been here before, and I'll be here long after you're gone. That's what fearlessness looks like. Not loud, not aggressive, but absolutely unshakable. Here's the kicker. The world respects courage, not comfort. You will be tested. You will face situations that make your stomach knot. But the ones who rise are the ones who refuse to let that fear touch the surface. Don't talk about how scared you are. Don't tweet about your anxiety. Don't look for sympathy. Handle it internally, quietly, relentlessly. Because the second you show fear, someone somewhere will use it against you. That's the Machiavellian truth. Here's the bottom line. You are always being watched, judged, measured, calculated. Every room you walk into, every interaction, every silence, people are reading you. And most men, they walk around like open books. Emotions bleeding all over the pages. Easy to manipulate, easy to provoke, easy to break. That's not strength. That's exposure. That's why they lose. That's why they stay stuck. That's why nobody respects them. But you? If you want to rise, if you want to operate like a real force in this world, you need to master the one thing that separates kings from pawns. Emotional discipline. Don't show desperation. Don't show uncontrolled anger. Don't show envy. Don't show self-pity. And do not show fear. You can feel those things. That's human. But the man who shows them loses ground. The man who controls them gains leverage. This is the Machiavellian way. Cold? Maybe. But effective? Undeniable. Because power doesn't belong to the loudest. It belongs to the calmest. To the man who moves with purpose. Who calculates, who waits, who strikes without warning or apology. So stop leaking emotion. Start wielding it. Be the storm no one sees coming. The shadow in the room. The one they never saw break, never saw panic, never saw beg. That's how you build presence. That's how you build fear. That's how you build respect. Now take a good hard look at yourself. Where are you slipping? Where are you exposing too much? Fix it. Today. And if you're serious about becoming the kind of man the world doesn't forget, show some respect, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs a reality check. But don't just watch this and nod. Live it. Apply it. Become it. Because if you don't control your emotions, someone else will. And trust me, they won't be kind. Make your next move count.